you actually look, like if you're looking at the True Blue character, the left hand is actually the hand of Don. They basically had McLean caps on, and like they were the skinny caps. And I worked it out and I was like, wow, yeah, that's how I started to get the fine control. To a graffiti artist, the colours were like rare DJ breaks to a DJ. Pink was the one. But I mean, you've got to think back and like have a chuckle about it, because like literally those buses, you know, like the 122s and things like that, they were just like absolutely smashed. Oh yeah, I mean, there was no like, there was no messing about. Like the 80s was a time where policemen used to give you a clip round the head, and I looked at that and I knew as soon as I saw that, I thought I got up my game, you know. And it was just different, and he was just like accomplished, and it was just like, yeah, you know, they like the dons at the game, they influenced the whole scene, the UK scene. And you're going to do a Trouble Funk video and you brought a load of graffiti artists, what would you most likely write? Trouble Funk perhaps? No, London Rock. No, like, you know, I was using stencils just as like a extra sort of thing to bring into the game, but I got criticised for that, and that's why I come out and I went bang and dropped True Blue. But yeah, I remember sort of going round to his house and like, you know, and like going to his bedroom, right, and it was just bomb.
Yeah, big up to Non-Stop, and a big RIP to State of Art as well.
Yeah. The whole thing about it, like, if you look around the edge, there's all these little triangles.
What did you think of the pit? It was like one way in, one way out, wasn't it?
One way in, no way out.
No way out. In this week's show, I have someone in the cab who rocked some of the most iconic characters and pieces back in the 80s. He is one of the graph artists who set the bar to the highest of levels. And for me, his True Blue character in Kilburn from 1987 was mind-blowing, and I regard it as one of the most iconic pieces in UK graph history. He hit a few walls alongside Non-Stop and was also in the legendary supercrew ASK All Star Kingz. I regard him as one of the legendary UK graph artists who had his own unique style and controlled those spray cans like Picasso did with his paintbrushes. He became an inspiring artist to many. We are going to uncover the history behind one of the pioneering trailblazers, a force of creative fire. We have the Diamond Geezer, straight out of leafy Kent, the Garden of England. We have the one and the only Chris, aka JUMP2 in the mother funkin' Ultra Cab. Yes, Chris. I hope you like that intro.
I love it, man. Thank you so much, Steve. It's amazing. Amazing.
This is where the magic happens, mate. This is where the you know, the history stories take place.
Yeah, incredible.
And it's such an honour to have you in the back.
And likewise, thank you so much.
It's a real honour, mate, honestly. And I can't wait to talk about, you know, how you got into spray can art, your True Blue character.
Yeah, let's do
also,
it, man,
we're going to be going, in this interview, we're going to be also inserting some of my photos and some of your photos within this interview, so you can, you know, you can see along the way what we're actually talking about. Otherwise, you could just be making it up.
And do you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there don't actually know what pieces are done, because a lot of the things that are, you know, should be credited to me, people are like writing online, do you know who done this, you know who done that? So there might be a few surprises for some people.
And also, if anyone's watching this, please leave a comment below. You know, let us know where you first see Chris's pieces, and you know what you thought of them. If there's any negative feedback, I'll delete it. All right. So make sure
we only want positive energy. Yeah.
So make sure it's all positive, because I don't talk. And also, I don't talk about beefs and all that. I just keep it all like upbeat. You know what I mean? So I'll tell you what, Chris. Let's get on it like a car bonnet.
Let's do it.
The first, the first two questions I always kick it off with is, you know, like, where are you from, and what was it like growing up as a kid? I suppose you're exactly my era, that like, you know, late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm born in '68, so. You know, pretty much, I was born like in a little maternity hospital in Barnhurst, which is actually in the woods. So you could effectively say I was born in the woods. Yeah, really.
That's why you've got that connection with your new art.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, pretty much sort of growing up in the, you know, the 70s as a young kid. You know, the 70s were just like, you know, amazing time to be alive. I come from, you know, based most of my life in Bexley Heath. My life sort of growing up was, you know, my mum and dad separated when I was like very young. And so it was just like pretty much like me and my mum living at home. And yeah, I mean, how can I put it politely? There was no structure. There was no discipline. I would be the last one to come in. You know, you'd be playing like 40-40. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember 40-40.
40-40, like with a lamppost. Like,
run-outs and all that.
And I'd be the last one called in. You know, there was no structure or anything like that. And Mum, bless her, she was so creative. And I think that's where, you know, all the artistic traits come from. I've inherited all of that from Mum and the lineage there. And her sister was really creative as well. She used to make these amazing pottery and painting as well, you know, so it runs in the family a little bit. But I kind of worked out, like when I was young, like people would come over to the house and things like that, and like what I would do is I'd sit there and they'd be having a cup of tea with Mum or something like that, and I'd sit there and I'd like draw their face.
Would you?
And I was
fascinated by faces.
I was fascinated by faces,
so
and
I'd
draw them, and then I'd show them, and it was just sort of seeing that, you know, oh, that's amazing. You know, it might have been SHIT, but, you know, but they're all kind of a kid.
Yeah, then it was like, oh, that's
nice.
Oh, that's
lovely.
Why do I look like a cartoon character?
But for me as a young child, it sort of like was like, oh, recognition, and also just like seeing what art could do to other people. You know, it could like give them a
lift,
a wow.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I think that was like the sort of early hookup of art. You know, and I just become like hooked on drawing. You know, I'd be drawing all the time, just drawing, and that was pretty much like, you know, the sort of early days of growing up.
I spoke to you before, and I moved from southeast London, you know, Deptford and Cholton. I grew up mainly in Cholton, but my family all from Deptford, New Cross, and I moved to Welling in Kent in mid 1984, and I was thinking to myself, it's kind of being like a little bit kind of countryside and not really much going on. But you know what? When I moved school from Woolwich to Welling, there was this hip hop vibe going on with some of the kids, and there was also some incredible art already going up before I'd even moved there. And I was blown away that, you know, this hip hop bug had already taken effect with people from that area.
Don't underestimate the bumpkins, Steve.
No, I'm not.
Don't underestimate them.
The bumpkins were there from day one.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, come on, let's be honest. Like, you know,
it touched us all, didn't it?
Everything happened, like, you know, when you know, like all the sort of Beat Street thing was coming out, Malcolm McLaren and
Buffalo Girls and all that,
and all that. But like, really, like, you know, all the pillars like were there, and like, you know, we had a dabble here and there. I bet you span on your back a few times. Like, you know, we all did.
The turtle and the windmill here and there.
We all did.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when Subway Art come out, it was like, this is my thing. This is my thing, you know. And like, I was just blown away by it. And like, you know, I'm not the first. I think you know, it was just like a huge impression. You know, this whole sort of culture that come over from America, and it was street. It was cool. And then alongside that, you had all like the electro albums coming out. But I can tell you, when I heard like, you know, the Soul Sonic Force and like Play at Your Own Risk and all this sort of stuff.
Play at Your Own Risk.
It was just like, yeah.
Planet Patrol, know, I mean.
I was just like, wow, you know, this is just something like, you know, with that heavy 808 that was happening, it was just like, this is, you know, this is going off, you know. It was really just resonating with me.
Was you like me?
The hairs on your arm.
I was going to say, you got goosebumps.
Yeah, yeah. And it was just resonating. And it just felt right, you know.
Great tracks.
But what an exciting era, because the thing is like, you know, you sort of come out like all the sort of 70s, and it was like punk and skinheads and mods and new romantics and all this sort of like, you know, this week I'm a new romantic, this next week I'm a mod.
It moved quick, didn't it?
Yeah,
80s,
I mean,
like the early 80s.
It was just like,
but
no, and it was just fantastic. There was so much like diversity. and you know, just who do you want to represent yourself as, you know? And then all of a sudden this like whole hip hop, you know, electro craze come in, and there was like rock steady breaking and
DJing, everything.
It was just insane, man. And it was just like, I think like, you know, it was just something that represented like street culture, you know. And being from Bexley Heath, I'm obviously really street, you know. And
I was chewing on a carrot.
But I wanted to be street, you know, and it just fitted the bill. And like, yeah, I'm street, you know, like.
And you'd walk around with your ghetto blaster and the. Yeah,
I know.
But it was an incredible time. But yeah, talking of you know, Subway Art. I mean, Subway Art. Martha Cooper, Henry Chalfont, when that come out in 1984, you know, that was without a doubt, that was one of the game changers that got quite a lot of people into doing graph. So did that must have had a huge impact on you, Subway Art, when you see that?
Yeah, like I say.
Where did you see it? Where'd you get it from?
I can't remember. I mean,
probably racked it at WH Smith
no,
or somewhere.
Steve, we wasn't like that in Bexley Heath. That's the Deptford talk. But like, no, we saved up our pocket
saved
money.
Up with your paper.
Saved up our pocket money, and we bought it legitimately.
But what did you think when you first witnessed Subway Art? What did you think?
Wow. You know, Dondi and all. You know, it was just like wow. You know. And like, and it inspired me, you know, and it was just, but the whole thing had already happened because you had all like the sort of Buffalo Girls and all the Rockstar and all that was already there, you know, 83, 84, it was already like planted. Really, that was the pinnacle sort of moment, I think, for a lot of people when that Subway Art came out, and you know, people just started to, you know, to just, you know, just become graffiti writers. You know, just jump forward a little bit, like if you're doing a painting of something, you'll get references. You're painting a flower, you'll get like lots of references and things like that. If anyone wants to look like the True Blue character that I done, if you actually look like if you're looking at the True Blue character, the left hand is actually the hand of Dondi.
Dondi, isn't it? I know, you told me that. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Dondi's.
And the actual pose is taken from like back in the day, like, you know, I wasn't a nerd, I was really cool. No, like, I was a nerd. And like we used to play Dungeons and Dragons and like all hex dice and things like that, and like there's a book called Out the Pit, and if you look out the pit, there's like there's a page where it's like leprechauns. There's 2 leprechauns, and if you look, that's what the pose from True Blue. That's where I took it. I didn't copy it. I took it and made it my own. But yeah, if you look, the left hand, that's from Dondi.
Is it really? Wow, that's amazing. Well, that's the thing with hip hop. It's like what you do. You take something. It could be a break of a record or whatever, and then you put your twist on it. So I'll tell you what. Let's get to your very first piece. You know, I've seen photographs of it. Well, I actually see it in the flesh. I see it in the flesh, and it said, what was it? Unique.
Unique, yeah.
Unique.
Yeah.
Was that your tag name, or did you just say I'm going to come up with Unique?
No, this was back in like the golden days when, like, you just choose random words. Like
was this 84?
84, yeah. It was
84.
like shortly after Subway Art come out, and yeah, you just choose random words. You know, just like, you know.
I'm going to insert a photograph of you standing next to that stuff here.
So, with the Soul Boy haircut, everything. You know, because I was Soul Boy back then, and like I even think on the top left of it, it says "Get off my line."
Is it really?
Yeah, you know, because I was so sort of like influenced by the Subway Art thing, you know. Not realising that it's all about trains and things like that, but like, yeah, you know.
But the thing is that was all part of it. Also put like a little quote next to it.
I was young.
Did you have the name JUMP2 back then or not?
No.
You still going under Chris?
I wasn't cool enough to have like a street name or anything like that. So, and also I saw in Subway Art, a lot of them were going by their names and things like that. And like, I wasn't cool to have a street name like Bullet or, you know, Romeo.
So you went under Chris?
I just went Chris, yeah. That was it, simple as that, you know. But yeah, that piece, like, it taught me that the brick is just going to suck the paint in. You've got to have like a primer.
You got to whitewash it.
You've got to whitewash it, and it's just, you know, simple things like that. You just didn't know.
You didn't know. You didn't have a clue.
You didn't know. And so it was just.
So you
like,
went back the next day. It was gone. Soaked into the wall.
Sucked into the wall. Yeah. No, it lasted, but like it wasn't like, it didn't pop how I wanted it to, and but you know, it was just, you know, that was really off the back of like subway art and stuff like that. Yeah. And then basically, like, there's sort of chronology. What happened was kind of, we found this sort of, when I say we, it was just me and Dave, by the way, like, we found this like hut on Russell Park, and it's like one of these huts where like they keep like the
lawnmowers and all that.
Yeah, you know.
Garden tools.
Yeah, yeah. So it's sort of like, you know, 3 walls are just perfect for graph, and the other ones is like 2 sort
like
of
the
metal doors. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, and that just really become our canvas.
That was like a Hall of Fame. Because I'll tell you what, there was a lot of people writing on them walls as well. Yeah, it wasn't just you, was it? There was quite a few others.
That's where, like, you know, next from spray can art was done. You know.
Well, I can't wait to. Was you painting there before you done paint tiles?
I think we was experimenting, but it was very soon after that like pan tiles come, because like local to me there was like a load of shops called the Pan Tiles in Bexley Heath, and on the corner there was a fishmonger's, and like round the corner there was just like this huge blank canvas, you know, and I just basically, like, I mean, back in them days I was always about like earning money. I was always about, like, you know, designing a t-shirt for, like, you know, money and things like that, and just wheeling and dealing and stuff like that.
But you're a window cleaner as well.
Yeah.
So you've done a bit of window cleaning. Well, that window cleaning must have come in handy when you was doing these.
It did, yeah. I mean, like, you know, I was just like entrepreneur. Like, I'd just go around knocking on people's houses. Do you want your window clean? And I had like 4 rounds, 1 each week, so that I could rotate. But I was really comfortable on ladders, so when it comes to doing the fisher panels, fisheries thing, I could lean out and I could balance with the leg out. You know,
you was used to it.
I was comfortable.
Yeah, you know,
was
like a true pro.
I was a true pro, man. And like, and
that's an incredible piece. I mean, anyone watching, well, have a look at this piece now. I'm going to put it up there so you can see it. I mean, the lettering. This is 1985, and the lettering style on this, you know, is incredible. The character with that fish as well was amazing. Where did you come up with the fish? What fish is that? Is it any style of fish?
I stole it. I don't know. Like back in them days, like, you know, there was, you know, references that you get from somebody. You might have stolen it and adapted it to, like, you know, set the design, but it come off some comic or something like that. You know, you go to the charity shop and there'd be all, like, you know, Angelz and things like that, and you just pick them up and, oh, that looks good.
But that lettering style, that must have been coming from...
The lettering style was all original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it ain't just about the lettering style. I mean, it was about the whole thing. It was like a full-on production. I mean, you know, you had a coloured background and... And
do you know, the thing is, Steve, right, I was like, I was dead chuffed after that.
So how much did you get paid?
No, I can't say that. Tax man not.
It's cash in hand back then, wasn't it? Cash in hand in a little brown envelope. Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, it was just like, for me, back then, graffiti, if you mentioned the word graffiti, it was like, you're a vandal. It was really taboo. Like nowadays, it's just like second nature. But you couldn't mention that, and it was mural. You know, I want to do mural, you know. And I'd done it, and like, after that happened, I could step back and I thought, do you know what? I'm a professional graffiti artist. And I was like, really proud of myself. Do you know what I mean? I was like, hey, I'm a professional graffiti artist now, you know. And I just don't know, it's just like, that was a momentous thing. I just felt really good that like somebody had actually paid me, was dead chuffed. The newspaper was coming around, a news shopper was coming around taking pictures of it. I'm like, you know, posing like that and everything. And I just thought, like, this is amazing, you know, I'm doing what I love.
I wonder if that's one of the very first kind of commissions, because 1985 is still early doors. So
I'll tell you what it was, and one of the first things was stencils.
Whoa, I'm going to get into that now, because I haven't forgotten about that. So the right of that piece is like it's called yin and yang sign, and
Yeah.
above that is Chinese writing. But listen, this is actually this was done by a stencil in 1985.
There you go.
This is early doors. This is way before people like Banksy and all them was doing stencil art.
Banksy, if only. If only.
So tell me, how did the idea of that stencil, and what did it say?
I mean, it's ridiculous now, but like there was a chip shop on the parade, like, and they were Chinese, and I went in there one day. I said, "Can you write my name, Chris?" I don't know what it says. It probably might say something like odd, you know what I mean? But they told me it said Chris.
Yeah.
And I went back and I sort of like made it out of cardboard and cut out, you know, the letters that they'd wrote, and you know, stenciled it on the piece, man. But yeah, I mean, it might say something completely different.
We'll have to relook.
But I was always fascinated, and I still am. I'm fascinated by like Eastern culture. But if you look also like on the bottom, like there's my tag, and what I actually like I actually done the tag as a stencil as well, but I done it in like two-tone colours and moved it down so there's a drop shadow. And I mean, come on, like, you know, like the people nowadays, they're doing stuff which just blows anything I've ever done out of the water.
But back then it was
just like we was experimenting, and we were just like trying new ideas and things like that, and it was in its infancy. So even a silly little thing like that, you know, you could think, oh, that's new, you know, and that's what I was about. I was about like just breaking boundaries. But by using stencils, like later on in the game, I actually got a lot of criticism for that, because people were saying like, he's no good, he can't control the can.
But you was doing it all the way back in 1985. That's official. I'm putting the official Taxi Talk stamp.
Well,
on
I mean,
this
come on,
interview.
there was like Black the Rat and like.
No,
you
I
know,
know.
on.
But I don't know if you knew, you would have known about them back then.
Nah, I didn't have a clue.
Let's take it back to Russell Park, because that was kind of like your playground, your kind of place where you know you would kind of put up all these incredible pieces. I mean, there were so many pieces. The other one was Next as well. The next one, and you had wasn't it like it looked like a stencil style face next to that to the right?
Yeah, it wasn't stenciled.
That wasn't stencil, was it? But it was so precise and so fine, and the can control on that it looked so good that it looked like a stencil.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you what, like back then, right? All the spray cans. I mean, nowadays, like, do you get spray cans in shops? Or I don't know what you get them for, but like, because you know,
different nozzles,
everything's car shops and things like that. But back then, there were like, I remember Halfords used to do this thing called mini sprays, right, for a little quick touch up on your car.
I remember them.
Did you remember?
Yeah.
Well, they basically had McLean caps on, and like they were the skinny caps. And I worked it out, and I was like, wow, yeah, that's how I started to get the fine control. It was a self-portrait.
There was a lady beside it to the left of it. Who was that?
Oh man, I'm gonna break some hearts here, and I know.
I might have to edit. Do we have to edit this, or?
No, I have to edit it. It's like I want to be really cool and street cool and things like that, but the truth of the matter is, come on, we might as well drop some truth. It was actually a face I found off of a Bunty annual. It was like yeah, I'll just, you know, the thing is, it's like, you know, if you found the original annual, it would look different.
What's the Bunty annual?
The Bunty, don't you remember Bunty? Like, to Google it, Bunty. She's like sort of like some sort of like, you know, hero girl that's sort of like, you know, female power, not back in the back.
Really?
Bunty. Well, I mean, I'm glad, because I'm shooting myself in the foot here by saying that I had a Bunty annual.
You're a street kid. I'm going to call you the Bumpkin Bunty.
My street cred has just been ruined there. Like, I mean, I don't know how it came about. Like, it was all, you know, just things, you know, you go to like jumble sales or like, you know, charity shops, and you pick up like annuals and things like that, and there might be like a image that you liked. I'm digging myself a deeper.
Now.
All right.
No, that's mad. You got it from now.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was it. I'm just laying down the truth. But like, I've also got to like say, you know, with the whole, you know, JUMP2, Chris and all the sort of people that I've really got to sort of pay respect to, that like that lettering for Next, that was my pal Dave. you know.
Yeah, big up to Dave, yeah, because I know he was a bit of an inspiration on the letter style, wasn't he, at first?
Yeah. I mean, Dave, like, you know, if you say, like, you know, what artists, you know, give you inspiration and that, and they'd all be like, you know, naming off all these famous artists. Dave's not famous, he just like had this unique style for lettering. And so a lot of the JUMP2 lettering, all the pieces that I've done, a lot of it would have been based on what Dave was doing.
Around that letter style.
Yeah, you know, right from the beginning. And, you know, I'd take it and I'd adapt it and I'd do whatever. But ultimately, I've got to, like, you know, there you go, Dave. But, like, you know, if you look at Next, there's a lot of buntlack being used in that. You know, the colours were just beautiful, strong.
And that's the thing, right, Chris, is that in 1986, for me, is like, that's when things really started to pop off. And you had, like, you know, all this futuristic looking incredible art going up from your Chrome Angelz, your Non-Stop, your Tough Arts, yourself. You know, there was loads of people like taking it to another level. And I think one of the reasons it was going to the next level, not just because it was an incredible style they was coming out with, but it was also the paint was changing. So when the buntlack come in, it was giving us a choice of all them different beautiful colours, the lilacs, the blues, the pinks. Do you know what I mean? It kind of pushed it to the next level, didn't it, the buntlack?
Well, I mean, back in them days, like, you know, there was like, to a graffiti artist, the colours were like rare DJ breaks to a DJ. Pink was the one, you know. Like, I mean, obviously you had like your you know, you had your buntlack pink, but like we found, I don't know, we went into like, you know, some train station and we found like the hut where they like paint, you know, lines on the ground, and we found a dusky pink can, like a can, you know, those big ones that you have to hold upside down. And so a lot of the things like Style Dominator's piece, you'll see, like, you know, but it was very much that train spotters for rare DJ breaks. You had exactly the same as a graph artist, the rare colours, you know.
But another thing as well, Chris, you was also a little bit like a lone wolf, you know, like a one-man army. What was that all about? What did you just love being absorbed into your, you know, your own art and doing it on your own?
It was really hard to be accepted by anybody outside of Bexley Heath. Like, you know, you go into London, you're just a bumpkin. I mean, you're still calling me one today. You know, it's like, you know, you're always labelled as that, you know. So I had to push the boundaries, I had to push it, I had to push the envelope, and I had to like go blam, you know, look. So for people to recognise me.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've done that. You've done that in a huge way, and not just inspired probably some people in London, but also all over the UK. I'll tell you what though, talking of like South East and Kent, you know, we didn't really have we didn't really have a tube system, do you know what I mean? It was like mainly buses and like obviously the overground, the British Rail. But I'll tell you what, them buses would get absolutely annihilated. I mean, like, you know, especially around 85 and 86,
yeah.
them buses were like, you couldn't see out the windows. And I want to talk about a few of those kind of hand styles that kind of blew me away back then. And you had like people like Staff 2, Pose, Demise, Razor, you know, big up to the AVZ, Artistic Vandals. You had Vans, Heights, Epic, Strobe, Aztec, Mass Mafia, Force, Haste, Data 27, Mo 1, Ranks, who else? Arc, Mid, you had the Bus Boys, Custom Boys, Condemn, RK, Panic, Hate, New 102, and so many more. You know, I could reel off a list of all these amazing hand styles that were being kind of done on these buses and bus stops or wherever. Did you love looking at the hand styles? And was the hand style a thing to you as well? Because obviously you had your Chris hand style as well, didn't you?
I mean, to be honest, you couldn't help not but look, because like you couldn't see light through the windows of the buses. You know what I mean?
They got annihilated,
it was just like
it was like putting a pair of sunglasses on, wasn't it?
I mean, look, okay, but I mean, you've got to think back and like have a chuckle about it, because like literally those buses, you know, like the 122s and things like that, they were just like absolutely smashed with tags
inside and out and yeah
everywhere. I mean, look, I'll be honest, it wasn't really my thing. I was more about like the pieces and the art. I mean, it happened, and like yeah, I mean, it was just like, And like you say, you know, just some of the beautiful hand styles that were coming out, calligraphy.
Because that's an art form in itself, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So in 1986, there was another, you know, great spot. I used to love going down there, and there were some absolutely epic pieces from your Tough Arts, your London Giants, FMA, Fast Moving Arts, Mo1, Aztec, you know, Prime, the Hellraisers, you know, yourself, Dread, Regret. I mean, there was so many pieces, and that place was Woolwich Dockyards, and what a place that was. You know, you'd get off the bus and you'd go across all this kind of rubble, which was near the Thames estuary, near the barrier, near the Woolwich barrier, wasn't it? And it was dangerous as well. There'd be security in there with dogs trying to chase you out, and like these big wolves. Do you know what I mean? But
oh yeah, I mean there was no like there was no messing about. Like the 80s was a time where policemen used to give you a clip round the head. Like security would have just let the dogs off on you, and you just have to go to hospital and like suck it up. Like there was no health and safety. It was just raw, like, you know, entertainment. It was raw entertainment.
Yeah.
But Woolwich, I mean, you know, for a Bexley Heath guy, like, you know, go down to Woolwich, it was all a little bit, you know, oh, this is a bit dangerous, you know. But yeah, you're right, you know, it was like wasteland, and yeah, but there was some amazing graph that was going on down there, so like, I had to sort of, you know, really go down there and sort of be part of that. I just remember that, like, you know, for me, like, it was really like an exposure to, like, you know, what talent there was in South London. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, man, when I saw that Jack 302 piece,
oh, don't even go there. Jack 302, is anybody, I think it said, is anybody still alive in the writing below it? And I wish I was in New York City.
He always used to write little bits and pieces.
That's right. But that Jack 302, right, picturing of this now so you can all look at it. That Jack 302 piece with the character on the end of the 302, the feel and the lettering style on that, did that also kind of, you know, did that push you to like take it to the next level?
I mean, like, I was embarrassed when I saw that. Like, I was like, what am I doing? You know, like, the guy was just in the future, and I looked at that and I knew as soon as I saw that, I thought I got up my game, you know. And and it was just different, and he was just like accomplished, and it was just like, yeah, that Jack 302 piece, I look at that and I think, right, I need to up my game now.
It was
an incredible artist.
Yeah,
love to meet him, by the way.
I mean, you know, Juski, he was probably my #1 favourite artist. I mean, because he
told me it was me.
Well, no, it was. Well, no, I'll say my top, he was in my top 5, including yourself. But no, he had, you know, he had the lettering style going on. He had the 3D going on. He had the feel going on. And in actual fact,
the guy was streets ahead, leagues ahead of everyone.
What did you also think of Chrome Angelz? Because for me, Chrome Angelz was like the most epic London crew. You know, they had some amazing artists, from Mo2 with his characters.
I tell you what, I'm not going to give them any more praise. They've had too much. They've had too much praise. You know, they like the dons at the game. They influenced the whole scene, the UK scene. Let's leave it.
We'll leave it at that. Yeah. I bigged up Chrome Angelz too much. But big up to Mode. I interviewed Mode.
Big up.
I interviewed Mode as well, and he's a great character. So big up all the Chrome Angelz.
Yeah. Come on, look, leave some rest of the food for the underlings. You know? Come on, we've all got to eat.
So you done a piece. It was Artful Dodger, and it was also with Scam, and it said London Rock, which was in 1986. I'm going to leave a picture of it up here so you can see. But where was that, and how did you get involved?
Do you know what? I'll just like drop some facts on this one, right? Basically, I mean, we haven't even touched on Hip Hop Alliance.
No, we're gonna touch on that.
But like, yeah, I mean, basically, it was like Trouble Funk was doing a tour in the UK, and they done like had this big backdrop in like Sunderland, and like with all the bridge and everything, you know, and it was like all sort of like, you know, really smoky, and they was doing all the Trouble Funk video, shooting it in the UK, and like Hip Hop Alliance took a coach load of London people, right? And I'm not being funny, it was amazing, right? You did Cookie Crew, everyone was on there, right? everyone who was somebody was on that.
Who else? Can you remember who else was on that?
I mean, AD was there, Scam, obviously, like, I can't remember. There was just like, all the faces.
Anyone watching this, leave a comment below and let us know who was on that coach. Was it one coach? One coach?
One coach, but like, you know, it was just absolutely full of like London heads, you know. But yeah, so the thing was like, we went up there and we was like, Ricky, like from
Ricky Reynolds,
we were meant to be like the cool sort of hip hop crowd that was like going to be supporting the video for Trouble Funk. So, like, I mean, Ricky was great. He just used to give us like carte blanche to do whatever we want. Ricky, superb, right? But like, you think about it, right? If you was sort of like into marketing or promotion or whatever, and you're going to do a Trouble Funk video, and you brought a load of graffiti artists, what would you most likely write? Trouble Funk bands? Nah, London Rock. It was just like, you know, it's just like we were just sort of like, we're in London, we're coming out of London, this is who we are, you know, whatever. In Sunderland, like with Trouble Funk, like playing there. And so we never made the video with the piece, but like that's where like the graph comes from.
And big up to Scam, by the way. I interviewed Scam, absolute legend in the game, you know, big up to the West. Let's cover that then. So Hip Hop Alliance was obviously Ricky Reynolds, and there was another guy there as well that used to run it as well, wasn't it?
You know, just to sort of give you a build up of what happened, it was like after I'd done that Pantos Fisheries piece, like what happened was my mum was looking through the, I think it was like a news shop, or I think it was actually the South London Press that we got. And in the personals at the back, there was a little thing, because remember back then it was all personals and things like that, and they're like, and it was like graffiti artists wanted. And my mum was like, "Oh, Chris, look at this, graffiti artists wanted." And there was a number. I called him up, and there was a fella called Rohan Sakuma. All right, so I'm giving you like, there's your name, brother.
Because big RP to
Rohan, like sadly, sort of like, you know, left the planet like too early. He was such a lovely bloke. Rohan was always my point of contact. I sent like from Pantos Fisheries, I sent the photos up to him. Yeah, you know, he wrote back, and that really was.
That was the connection.
That was the connection.
That was the hip hop. That was the hip hop connection.
It's bizarre, like my mum going, "Oh, Chris, look, there's like a little sort of, you know, an ad in the back of the paper," and it was through that I met. Well, there was other connections as well, like Pascal. We'll come on with Pascal, but like, but yeah, really, like that was my sort of in, and they were getting me commercial work. You know, I was doing a lot of like paid work as a graffiti artist. The Hip Hop Alliance were like great. Like at the time, there was like Red Ken in power. He was like the mayor of London, Ken and Livingstone, and I think they was on their way out, and they just had a big budget that they needed to use up, and so they were just throwing loads of money at the arts. And like Ricky on the Hip Hop Alliance, he was just mopping it all up, and he was just giving it out. And like a lot of people, you know, might have a lot of things to say about, you know, this and that, but they really gave so much exposure, and they were really great for that movement, that UK hip hop movement in you know, the 80s.
100%. And big up to Ricky Reynolds. I need to get Ricky in the cab. I spoke to him a few years back actually, and I've got friends that know Ricky really well, and he done a lot, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Because in 1985, wasn't it? That was based in Stockwell. Because I was a member of that as well.
Ricky's such a character, man. He's sort of a cross between sort of like Rick Mail and Huggy Bear, right? You know what I mean? He's just sort of all political but cool, like Huggy Bear. And like yeah, he was just great, man. You know, just like really super cool, really doing everything for like the community and doing everything for the arts and just spreading the love. And like, you know, they were a really powerful force and like put a lot of people on the map.
On the map, yeah. Big up to Ricky. Massive respect to Ricky Reynolds. Tell you what, let's go back to 1986, the Battersea Park Capital Radio Adventure Day. which I went to as well. And I'll tell you what a day that was, you know, in Battersea Park. I mean, you had all these incredible DJs on the turntables. You had all these amazing like artists like yourself, your London Giants, Mode 2, Non-Stop, Deluxe. There was quite a few writers there as well, and you had your B-boys and all that. But tell me about that. How did you get involved with the the Capital Radio Adventure Day?
Well, it was Hip Hop Alliance.
Oh, through them as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they was organising the whole thing. But like the mad thing is like, you know, when we sort of retrospectively look back, you know, we had no idea like the impact of what was happening. You know, like people call me a legend and things like that. I get embarrassed because, you know, I think they call me a leg end. I don't know. You know, I'm not. I'm just Chris Green from Bexley Heath. You know, just done some art and like, you know, was into and I feel a bit uncomfortable because, like, you know, that Battersea Park, when you look back retrospectively, you think, wow, that was a real, you know, there was one the year before, but it's like that was really when it was buzzing.
Thousands turned up. I remember it was a lovely day, wasn't it?
But the thing is, we was just all taking it in our stride. We weren't thinking we was making history. We weren't thinking like we had a dogs, whatever, right? We were just doing graph. We were just being us, like doing what we enjoyed, you know.
It was some lovely work going on. I mean, you had yours, you had the tracks, which I'm going to put up there. If anyone, I'm going to stick the photograph up there. You can see it, tracks. And you had the character, once again, is that a self-portrait of yourself next to it? Because it also, once again, it's so fine detail, Chris.
No, that was stenciled. And do you know
that was stenciled?
Yeah, that was a stencil.
That was stenciled.
That was originally used in a piece Dominate that I'd done in Erith Car
Style
Park.
Dominator.
And that stencil I used. And the thing is that by me doing that on at Battersea Park, I got a lot of
grief.
I got a lot of grief because they were like, he's whack, he's no good. He uses stencils. It's bizarre.
It's just a tiny.
But I was pushing the boundary of like, you know, of art. You know, of like, you know, like come on, Banksy. Like if only I had your talent and humour, you know, I could be you. But like, no, like, you know, I was using stencils just as like a extra sort of thing to bring into the game. But I got criticised for that, and that's why I come out and I went bang and dropped True Blue. And that was all freehand, just to go, there you go, I can do it. I'm just trying to, like, you know.
I can't wait to talk about True Blue. We're going to move on to True Blue in a bit. But staying with that Battersea Park jam, the way it works, there was you on one big canvas, or whatever you want to call it, on the board. There was Deluxe, and there was also obviously Non-Stop. Next to you as well.
Giants, and then Chrome Angelz.
And Chrome Angelz, yeah. But you also had the DJs as well, and there was a DJ who was from our neck of the woods called DJ Bones, who was down with crew I was down with, called the Sly Faders.
Where happened to? But I just remember that was insane that day.
It's scratch patterns.
And it's just like Darren lived like a few doors up from me, and I'd go round his house and like be in his bedroom, and he'd be like doing all this cutting. And the next thing, we've got all these hundreds of people, and Darren's like cutting it up. I'm doing graph.
Yeah,
it was just like, it was mad.
It really was. But that Battersea Park jam was a special jam, and I've got some great memories of that. I can just about hang on to the memories. And also, didn't you do a character, the Busy Bee character
I
there
did,
as well?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to put a photograph of this up, because I never see that. I don't think, did I? No, I did see it, but I didn't realise you had done it. Where did you do that? Because you've done the tracks piece.
Yeah.
So what was
the tracks piece was like, you know, part of the sort of the schedule. You know, that was like what we was assigned. But there was just like all of these boards that hadn't been painted, and I finished my thing.
Yeah, some paint left over.
Yeah, I had loads of paint left over, and I just thought I'd just do the bee. It was in my sketchbook, and I just done it like off the cuff.
And what was the reason behind Busy Bee? Would it have been about Busy Bee from All Star?
No, I tell you what it was. I mean, like, I wasn't that like accomplished as a philosophical artist or anything like that. It was pretty much from like Eric B. Get busy, yo. It was just that's, you know, it's like get busy B. Ooh.
It's wicked character though.
Yeah, I mean it was, and actually, do you know what? I've got to give props to like I personally think one of the most underrated artists there is in the game. It's Mark from ERZ.
Essex Rockers.
The Essex Rockers, yeah. Mark is a true force, you know, and he actually done a sort of homage to that B that I done, but I mean, he just knocked it out of the park. And Mark, you know, wow, you know, absolutely incredible artist, you know, so much respect, so much kudos, and underrated, you know. He's like the B-side, you know, like where you get like a record, you know, he's like the underrated sort of B-side, but everyone plays the B-side because it's the best, you know what I mean? And he's
Big up to the Essex Rockers.
Yeah, Mark, he's good, man.
Right, if you're enjoying this wicked interview so far, then please leave a comment below. You know, one of us will also get back to you if it brings back like any memories, and share around all the socials, you know, spread the word, hit the like button, and also hit the subscribe button, which is down there. When's the first time, was you going Covent Garden as well? Was you venturing up into Covent Garden, like the hip-hop epicentre of London town? I mean, Covent was another incredible spot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was all going off up there.
Yeah, we managed to sort of find our way home as well, back to the Bumpkin Land. Like, we managed just, but yeah, I mean, it was sort of like, you know, I don't know how we found out that was like the epicentre. But yeah, it was sort of, you know, every Saturday you'd sort of go up on the train, you go up to like Covent Garden and just hang out. And like that was really like our social media. That was our, like, you know, our Facebook, our Instagram. You know, you just basically like hang around.
And there's so many legends up there, from like big up to London Posse, the She Rockers, Cookie Crew, DJ Pogo, Cutmaster Swift, all the big writers, the London Giants, Tough Arts, Non-Stop. I mean, everyone was going pretty much going Covent Garden.
Like I say, you know, there was no internet back then, and it was just basically the hive of activity, and it was like where anyone who was anyone you would go. And you know, you'd have like so many like people that you'd meet, and that's how connections were made. You know, like people would get their, you know, black book out, and they'd like bang, 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 everyone would be coming around, but no cameras or anything like that. We didn't have them. Maybe 35 mil or something like that. But like, you know, there's no, and it was just it was just organic.
It was totally organic, yeah. And I think really Covent Garden, we need a blue plaque up in Covent Garden with like saying the hip hop epicentre of London town. Did you was you going to any early hip hop jams? Because I know you went to the like I did. You went to the Electric Ballrooms in 1985 when Run DMC and Jam Master Jay played for the first time in London in 1985.
Yeah.
And what an event that was.
Mate, I don't know how we managed to sort of find out about that down in Bumpkin Land, but like, yeah,
no, it would have been through like LWR or one of the pirates.
Yeah. But yeah, Electric Ballroom, it was a daytime event.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And like, I just remember, like, you remember that film Beat Street when they're all like, it was better than that. It was insane. I've never seen anything like
that
it.
Battle. That battle was unreal, wasn't it?
Was it? It was like.
It was up for a crew from our ends, Barbarian Breakers, which, as you know, was Dave Ray, Malcolm, Flex, Simon House, Martin, and there was a few others. But that Barbarian Breakers, what a crew they were. You know, I know Dave Ray also dabbled with a bit of graph, but he was so good because I think what it was, I met Dave Ray quite a few times. I think Dave was actually a gymnast as well. That's why he was so good at them moves. But when that battle took place at the Electric Ballroom against, I think it was against London All Stars and Live to Break.
Mate, I tell you, right, I remember that day. I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, right? But I tell you, I remember that day. And to coin a phrase, it was electric. The Electric Ballroom, it was insane.
It went off, didn't it?
It was insane.
I remember Westwood, he dropped Soul Deaf, Soul Deaf, Soul Deaf, it's a Def Jam. When that track was played, that's when the circle formed. You know, it was so powerful. I ended up going upstairs and looking down on the battle because it was just went off. It went off.
Yeah, I remember I was at the front, but it was just getting too rowdy, and I did go upstairs in the end, but it was just insane. It was just like the energy. This film Beat Street, you know, when I had like, you know, battles like that, it was just real. It was real.
It was like the battle versus like
real.
New York City Breakers against the Rocksteady crew. It was on that level, wasn't it?
It was.
I think
insane,
Dave Ray, Breaker Ray, come out and he done a 90s spin on his like a Superman kind of like spin on his.
I don't know. I mean, he was doing halos and things like that back then. Do you know what I mean?
He was dangerous.
Yeah, he was dangerous. It's just insane, man. But yeah, that day, I mean, I that was incredible. The energy, like, you know, that was happening there, it was just insane, off the charts.
Oh, talking of other places, you know, I mean, obviously the Westway, especially in 1986, you know, the Westway was a great place. You know, you get off at Westbourne Park, you go over the bridge, you'd look to the left, to the right, to see if you could see any like fresh pieces. Yeah. When's the first time you went to the Westway, and what did you think?
I think like London was still a bit taboo for us, you know, coming from Bexley Heath. It was very difficult to be, you know, accepted, and you'd still, you know, you'd have to be careful walking around London. You'd have to walk with purpose. I didn't really like venture into like sort of like Ladbroke Grove and things like that. It was really only like through the you know, the meetups in Covent Garden. You know, an old friend Pascal, he was like really pretty much like a fix-it guy. He would sort of link people up and everything, and also, you know, Hip Hop Alliance were like, you know, in cahoots with Non-Stop and things like that. And it was really like meeting up with like Pedro from you know, Fade 2.
Yeah, big up Fade 2.
Yeah, from Non-Stop and
came 101. Yeah.
You know, and seeing him up Covent Garden and stuff like that, you know. And Pedro would be like a photographer. He would just like document everything. He's got probably the biggest collection of photos in hip hop and graph that anybody could ever have. But yeah, I remember sort of going round to his house and like, you know, and like going into his bedroom, right, and it was just bombed. It's just like it was like the buses back. It was back like the 122 buses, like the whole of his thing. There wasn't any space you could write on, right, and it'd be like, you know, wow, this, you know, kids like, yeah. And yeah, we just become friends, and it's really only through that like came down to the youth one day. I met him at the train station, and I took him around and showed him all the pieces in Bexley Heath that I'd done, and he was like, "Wow, you know, you're all right, aren't you?" I was like,
"Oh well, not too bad, yeah, not too bad."
And he was like, "Do you want to come write with Non-Stop?" Well, of course, I'm like, you know, I'm over the moon. I think like, you know, this is my promotion, and that's really how it happened. Like that was my, you know, because then I got a free pass to be able to like roam around London and like go with them fellas, and you know, we'd be able to sort of go to like these areas and graph, and no one would really like, you know, challenge you.
Yeah, big up to Non-Stop, and a big RIP to State of Art as well.
Yeah, man,
another you know, inspiring character artist.
Yeah, I mean, but Bunny, and also like, you know, I mean, Fade fantastic, Kane fantastic, but like, you know, to be part of a crew, you know, that Bunny, he was out of this world, you know. Like at the time, they were just smashing it. Non-Stop, exactly what they were. They were just smashing it. And Bunny was like real. He was the jewel in the crown.
Let's talk about the World Destruction Wall, which was in 1986, and you done that twisted character on the end, which once again for me, another kind of game-changing character. I've never seen nothing like it before. I'm going to leave a photograph up there so you can all see it. But it's got a twisted neck and a twisted body and some mad face. What is that of? Like it looks like an alien or something, like the mad crazy face. Where did you get the idea for the twisting of it?
You don't want to dig into my brain, Steve, because you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go in there. There's a lot of like cobwebs and darkness, and
you're not going to like eternal serial killer at me, are you?
No, you don't. I don't know where the idea come from. It was sort of like, you know, you're inspired by sort of like all the sort of, you know, comics and magazines and things like that. But that was actually an original, completely original. That wasn't you know, an idea out of a magazine. That was, I remember that one. Like, you know, I just had the idea of like, don't get it twisted. You know, that was the thing. Don't get it twisted. You know, like misunderstanding something, and I just remember like having a rubber band and like putting it on my you know, forefinger, my thumb, and like having it twisted and then sort of drawing it, you know. So it was all sort of like, you know, that was my reference with a rubber band to sort of kind of get the neck. And it's kind of like, you know, primitive when I look at it now. But yeah, I mean, it was just, that was a completely off the dome character. Twisted.
Well, I've never seen anything like that before. Same with True Blue. I'll get on to True Blue in a minute. But yeah, it was another one of them legendary characters. You know, it really stood out. And that World Destruction piece was great. It was massive, wasn't it? Huge.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, what happened with that was I mean, basically Non-Stop was always ever and only will ever be 3 people, you know, and they done like the whole length of the swimming bars. I don't know, like how many meters, feet, 100, 150 feet. I don't know what's the width or the length of a full size swimming pool. And it was Non-Stop World Destruction. And like they'd obviously spent like all week doing it. I'm at school. I think I turned up on a Saturday and it's done. Said like, just do a little character here, and that's when I've done the Twisted. And
in 1987, let's get on to this then, Chris. The True Blue legendary B-boy character. And for me, that is probably the most iconic character of its time for 1987. That blew me away seeing that. That was, you know, that was on another level. And, you know, to see that, tell me all about that. Who's the character of? Obviously, tell me a bit about the, you know, the hands and the blues and all that, the name True Blue.
I mean, it was like literally like there was this leprechaun out of like out of the pit, the thing. But I made it my own, you know. I didn't sort of copy something and I made it my own. But that was in response to like people criticising me at Battersea Park for using stencils. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to really like, you know, show my critics that they're wrong. And so one of the things that like I wanted to like flip the script with a lot of graffiti back then, because what you would see back then is you would see a lot of really complicated lettering and fills and things like that, and the backgrounds were almost an afterthought, you know, like just like a quick sort of background, but it was all about the lettering. And what I would do is I'd flip the script and I would make the background intricate and really geometric and things like this, and the lettering, you know, more of a fill sort of thing, you know. So I was just trying to experiment and flip the script with certain things. But True Blue, all of like at the time I was getting a lot of buntlack leftovers from like commission jobs that I was doing for like Hip Hop Alliance, and the car spray paint was like coming from wherever, and like all of the background, like, and I don't know, like if anyone remembers buntlack, how it used to be. The nozzle was like literally like a Sherman tank, you know, it literally looked like a tank, and it behaved like one as well. it was insane. You just like slightly press it and it go like that, and you could just ruin a piece, like, you know. You had to be really careful with the pressure and pull back on the cap and stuff like that. Yeah, so like the background of True Blue, all of the background is completely buntlack, and I've done it with geometric patterns. And like, and if you also see there's circles, right, that are in different colours.
That's right.
You know, yeah. So I had to like, you know, go like this, and just press at the right time to go to get that part of the circle. You know, and it was all about like, I really loved all the geometric, you know, mathematical sort of backgrounds, you know, with the blocks and the circles and things like that, and that kind of become a bit of a trademark of mine. But yeah, that was the whole background was buntlack, to just say, look, I can control the can, I don't need stencils. They were just like, you know, what I chose to do, but here you go, here's the buntlack, and I'd done that. And then all the character was all spray paint. But it was like, do you remember like you know, back in the 80s, like you'd have like Sierra beige. All the Sierras were like beige or blue, weren't they? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And like, and then you had like Talbot,
oranges,
Chrysler, all them famous colours. They're all in True Blue. If you look in the skin and things like that, you know, all the blues. There was a buntlack colour, like a lilac, that I just loved.
That's beautiful, wasn't it? Oh, that lilac was beautiful.
There was a lilac and cobalt blue, and I was just like dribbling, you know, for them colours. Like, it was just beautiful. When I finished it, I knew the stars had aligned, you know, because like I looked back and I thought, wow, shit. Yeah, well, shit. And I didn't have any like idea, and I just wrote JUMP2 True Blue, and kind of at the time, I don't want to spoil this for anyone, but do you remember it was like True Blue, the Madonna thing, and it was just like resonating. It was the 80s, you know, and it was just jump because it was all blue. It was like a blue fruit, you know, kind of like a blue, you know, hue, saturation, all blue, and it was just like JUMP2 True Blue, and it just worked.
It is on another level, Chris. Yeah, it was mind blowing to see. I think anyone watching this interview, I'm sure that character probably may have inspired them as well, because it was on like an epic level.
Yeah, but do you know what? It was only things like, you know, seeing Jack 302 and in pieces like that I knew I had to up my game. So like, you know, it was just like, you know, you everybody sort of works off each other, you know, and like you know, you just all everything
you're pushing each other, all pushing each other,
yeah, everything's progressive,
without a doubt. And also the True Blue, you also I think it was Colour Scope with the Bad Lads piece as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was Mystique doing the piece next to us. But I wanted to kind of like, I had a vision about like True Blue, and I wanted it to just be like, you know, something. I didn't want to merge it into like things. So sorry, Dave, but like I wanted the True Blue to like stand on its own. But yeah, I mean, Mystique was with us that day. You know, we was all there. That day.
Absolutely game-changing piece. You also done the J2 piece in Bromley in 1987, and Bromley had some big writers over there as well. You know, there's a big scene in Bromley. I mean, there's big scenes everywhere, but Bromley had a massive scene as well, didn't they? So tell me about the J2 piece.
It was a throw up. It was just a throw up.
Just a throw up.
Yeah, it was just a throw up. It was just a quick throw up, and like and I felt really uncomfortable because it was just like basically like shoppers walking past. And again, like back then, like graffiti was really frowned upon. You know, you was a vandal. You know, now you're like, oh, I love what you're doing, but like back then you were a vandal. And I just felt, you know, it just had to be done quick, so it was just a real throw up, really.
And what's the thing above the J? It looks like an alien looking face or something.
It was meant to be a skull.
A skull?
But it kind of didn't come out right. So yeah, I'll go with alien.
Go with alien.
Yeah, it was always meant to be alien.
No, it's another great piece.
Thanks.
And you also done Style DZ, the Buntlack character in 1987. I mean,
no, I think that was, I don't know if that was 87 or 86. I think that was earlier.
But that, you know, people were coming out with them kind of can characters.
Yeah.
But that, for me, was the best can character I'd seen. And I'll tell you what, and I know you've got some bits and pieces down there, but we're going to, after this interview, going to go through. But that can was, you know, and it said, did it say it bunt?
I know, yeah, but I had to get it right because
you should have got sponsored by Buntlack for that.
Yeah, well, do you know what? Next, do you remember Next from Spray Can Art? I actually sent that off to the clothing company Next.
Oh, did you? No.
Yeah. I was always about earning the money, and that it was just too soon for them. But yeah, like that Bunt character, when I done it, I've actually remixed it and I've like changed the B so it's a small B, because the thing is like with the B it could almost read as something else. I won't go there, but like, yeah, so in the remix I've switched it up a little bit, but like that character was, if you look at like there's a halo that goes round it, you know, like a sort of like a glow halo, and that was done in the dusky pink that we got from the train station lockup.
Was it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is rare colours like the DJ Rare Grooves and things like that. Yeah, so that Bunt character, yeah, I mean that was, I mean, come on, you know, who's going to sponsor like Vandals back then?
So Hip Hop Alliance, you know, you had the Tough Groove label, and you done the art on the record cover for the Just Bad freestyle track. And Just Bad, I think we're a little crew. You had MC Mello in it, Moni Love, DJ Pogo, I think Sparky Ski as well. And on the flip side, you had I think it was called Proud. But that record cover, how did you get what? I mean, that once again was incredible to see that cover. I'm going to put a picture up there now so you can all see it. So you can all see it with Tough Groove, with the needle. But yeah. How did you get the job for Tough Groove? Was it through Hip Hop Alliance?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone. It was open pitch, I mean, feedback I actually got from Ricky was just like, I was like super professional about it. You know, I was sending like ideas to Rohan, and you know, there was like, and back in them days, it was like really sort of like sweet, because, you know, there'd be no email and stuff like that. I'd literally be putting sketches into an envelope, putting a stamp on it, sending it to Brixton. They'd send a letter back.
Because it was all hand drawn as well, wasn't it?
It was all hand drawn.
No computer, was it?
Yeah. It's fantastic, you know, when you think back. And, you know, then you caught, and I'll go around the phone box. I put 2p in the phone box, you remember that? And like, you know, I'll be tweeting a Hip Hop Alliance, you know, putting another 2p in and things like that. And that's how the sort of coordination was done for Tough Groove. The actual sort of eureka moment was when I looked at that, and it's called Sweet or something like that. If somebody have to look at it, it's
from that
Sweet.
From that record album
yeah,
cover.
it's an old sort of like 70s thing called Sweet or something like that. But that's where, and it's, you know, you won't recognise it from the you know, from the Tough Groove record that I designed, but you'll see that's where the spark came from.
And then one, like we said earlier, that's where you put your twist on it.
Yeah. So it really was like, you know, I had like Ricky coming out with all these sort of like, you know, originality and more mere formality, mutant rock, young, gifted, and wicked, and all these like things, and that. Well, the name JUMP2, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say JUMP2. How did you come up with the name JUMP2?
What it was, right, was like I wasn't cool, right, to have a street name, you know. I just wasn't cool. I was Chris, you know, and we all want to be cool and have like a street name. And back then, it was like all the 80s stuff was like, you know, it was all like power moves, wasn't it? Do you remember like Choose Life?
Yeah.
And all this sort of game. And I remember at the time, I think it was Nike, they came out with Ain't Nothing to It But to Do It.
That's right.
Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Ain't nothing to it but to jump to it.
Oh, that's where it's come from. Ain't nothing to it but to jump to it.
Yeah. That's
Jump
where
to it. Jump to
so it was like dynamic. It felt like, you know, bang, 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 you know.
And that stuck.
Yeah. It was just like, I like that. You know, it felt right for the time. Jump, it's sort of dynamic, it's got movement, it's got motion. It felt right.
Right, let's get on to the big one. 1987, spray can art drops. And once again, another absolutely inspiring, you know, book by Henry Chalfont and James Prignoff.
Yeah.
And, you know, looking through that, you know, it was opening up to loads of artists from like London, like yourself, some other parts of the UK as well as Europe. You could tell that we had got the, you know, the hip hop bug, especially the graph element, in a big way. On a large scale, you had the Mo 2 character on the front. How did you get involved with spray can art?
Well, I didn't. I've got to like every, you know, the whole thing. I've got to give credit to Pascal.
Pascal connected to Henry and James.
For the life of me, I don't know. But you know what? Like him and his brother Stefan.
Yeah.
They subsequently went on and they had art galleries and things like that. So I think they was always like these sort of like, you know, networkers. You know, and like, you know, that's just like who they are. You know. So and he was just, you know, he was just networking, and he knew Henry. And like what happened was he actually got Henry to come down to Bexley Heath, like on a train, like, you know, and Henry come down and like and he took him around like Bexley Heath, taking photos of everything. Of course, took the picture of Next in Bexley Heath. I didn't have a clue. I didn't know anything that this was going on, and it was like, so this is all sort of like he's coming round. Henry was in London in '86. And the book come out in '87 because it's take a year to sort of be published and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I remember like one time in '86, like I was in Covent and like Pascal goes, oh, somebody I want to meet you. I want you to introduce you to. I didn't know really who he was. I knew he was doing a book and things like that. It only becomes subsequently like, you know, what was happening. And he was like, you're going to sort of meet this fella. And I remember like I went up to him and Pascal goes, oh, this is Chris. And Henry goes, oh man, I love your characters, like that, like shook my hand. And there was like James Prigoff, and I'll never forget this. And like I say, I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, but I'll never forget that moment. I met James Prigoff, and he shook my hand, and he nearly broke it.
No, he can't break your hand. That's your.
I know. This is like worth money. And like, but you know, the man shake, like when it's like really, like that, and it was like, and yeah, that was just me meeting them up at the Covent, and then like, you know, the subsequent year come out, and you know, and they got my piece at the back with James, you know, the meltdown face. And
tell me about the meltdown face, because I mean, once again, another, you know, another kind of
that was. Do you know what that
piece?
That's almost a throw up.
No,
that was not planned or nothing. That wasn't planned at all. That was just a sketch that I had in my book.
And who's it of? Any idea?
No, I took some ideas from, like, look, I'm not going to blag it. Took some ideas from some of the magazines. You'd have Judge Dredd magazines and things like that. I'm not going to try and like style it.
But you just put your own twist on it.
Yeah. I mean, the melting wasn't part of it, you know. I added that, you know. In fact, you know what? Like, the whole thing about it, like, if you look around the edge, there's all these little triangles. It's all to do with visual migraines that I get.
Oh, so you were seeing those?
Yeah. If anyone ever has visual migraines, suffers from visual migraines, they know what I'm talking about, and that's what it is. It's a visual migraine.
And you see them little triangles.
Yeah, you see. That's what you see. It starts off a little dot, and then it goes bigger and bigger. But like that's what it was. It was like that day. I remember, like, there was me, Pedro Bunny, Max. There was like all the All Star Kingz. There was just everyone. We was all round the pit. And like, we was like, yeah, we're going to do a graph this day. And I just basically, I didn't know what I was doing. I just had paint in my bag because they said bring some paint up. And I just flipped from the book and I just chose that. And it was all freehand. There was no stencil. It was all freehand.
That's what I'm saying. It looks so clean and so fine. It looks like a stencil.
But it was big. It was big.
Oh, it was big.
Yeah, it was big. So, you know, I mean, like, you know, it can look like a stencil.
Them walls are about, what, 7 or 8 foot high, weren't they? I remember going into the pit, and what did you think of the pit? It was like one way in, one way out, wasn't it?
Yeah, one way in, no way out.
No way out. Yeah, you're going to get drapes, didn't it? It's another great spot over in West London. You know, the pit was another great Hall of Fame, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean, like I say, I just got a free pass, like, by being affiliated with Non-Stop, and then, like, you know, as part of like this consolidation of like artists, it was like All Star Kingz, that I was writing All Star Kingz, and I was just, you know, stoked. I was just like, kid from Bexley Heath, I got promoted, I'm accepted, I'm like writing with all these legends, you know, I'm loving it. I didn't know.
You're laughing it up.
I love it. You know, I didn't know anything about the beef or anything like that. I was just a freelance, and I was there. I just loved doing art, and I just wanted to put pieces up. You know.
Yeah, I know. It did get a little bit kind of creative, beefy back then. And you touched on it. You know, you was also in the. It was kind of, you could say, like a super crew called the All Star Kingz. Yeah. And I want to give a big shout out to Score, actually, because Score's given me a bit of information on All Star Kingz. I knew about them anyway, and I knew a bit of brief history on All Star Kingz, but basically I'm pretty sure this is the way it's formed, and if it isn't, please leave a comment below. But the All Star Kingz were an amalgamation of 3 crews: the TTA, Tough Times Ahead crew, which I think was Rio, IS3 and Casby. You had Non-Stop, Fade 2, State of Art and Kane 1. You had the Hellraisers, which was Prime and Crime, and I think they were set up to basically creative counteract the London Giants, who were an amalgamation of 2 crews: Creative Arts, which was Dewski, Cast, Flyboy, or he used to also write Harm and Sned and Form, and Southeast Vandals, Shame 181, Fresh Mesh, Zone 1 and Stain. And they combined to join the super force called the London Giants. Now, I think that's why the All Star Kingz formed. Is that correct? Did you see it that way, or?
I've got to be honest with you.
And by the way, I love both crews.
Yeah,
you know, I love all them writers.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't know anything about the beef. I wasn't really into that. I was just swept away by it. I was cool.
You was like a free spirit.
Yeah, but I'm accepted by a London crew, and like, you know, I'm writing with like some, you know, these really well respected people in London. I didn't know anything about like South and West and things like that, and it was just like, you know, but ultimately, you know, like you were saying earlier on, you know, a bit of a lone wolf and things like that. You know, I was sort of, you know, kind of like, you know, a freelancer. And but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I was there. I was down with Non-Stop, and I was like affiliated with All Star Kingz. I'm part of All Star Kingz, and I was writing with them legends, you know.
Well, All Star Kingz weren't just a West London crew. I mean, you had Northwest writers in it Non-Stop, and you also had Southwest writers in it, Prime and Crime.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, and a bumpkin thrown in.
And a bumpkin thrown in for good measure. Yeah, with a spray can. Yeah. But no, big respect,
celery.
Massive respects to all them crews, all them writers. Do you know what I mean? They was inspirational. I think everyone will agree watching this. They was, including you, Chris, an inspiration to all of us.
Yeah, they all was, man. Honestly, all of them, you know, like, fantastic.
And I'll tell you what, you always stood out as well, the way you dressed. You was always like head to toe in denim, and I always remember you had the denim jacket with the back panel on it. I'm sure did it say Chris on it?
Yeah.
That back panel was unreal. When did you spray the back panel of the denim jacket?
I can't remember when I done it, but like,
how did you do it? Because you wouldn't have known much about how to do a back panel back then, so
I mean,
there wasn't many people doing that.
I mean, I think it was probably like either fabric paints or acrylic paints, but like I painted the jacket white, if I remember. I painted it, I think, with emulsion paint from a house.
No, it wasn't.
You know, it was just like whatever you had, like, you know, to hand. You'd be surprised. A lot of, like, you know, these high-end fakes that have, like, you know, fooled like Sotheby's and things like that were painted with emulsion paint. You can just be resourceful with anything. But yeah, I think like, but that jacket was really, like, at the time there was like an artist called Philip Castle, and he done a lot of airbrush work, and I was really heavily inspired by like the character that I put. It was like a woman with, you know, breasts that would sort of like melt into some lettering and things like that. And I was heavily inspired by Philip Castle, amazing artist. You know, but it was all that airbrush sort of stuff that was happening back then.
But you really did look the part, and you really did stand out. Do you know what I mean? You always stood out.
My jean two-piece.
yeah. And I'll tell you another thing you used to rock as well was your name belt as well.
Yeah, I remember that. Like, you know.
Where'd you get that from? Camden?
Camden was the one. Yeah, like just by the lock, by the bridge, there was like a little tiny shop there, and they done it. I think they served so many people up with them belts.
And what style of belt did you have? Because the one I had, it was brass with silver letters with a brass O.
You went a little bit off, you know.
I went off the beaten track a bit.
You did, didn't you?
Yeah, I styled it out a bit.
I went for the meat and potatoes brass with brass lettering.
You went full brass.
Full brass.
Full brass. What, JUMP2 or Chris?
They didn't do the number 2.
Right.
You couldn't
so
get numbers. Just jump.
Jump.
Yeah.
I remember Mo 1, and he used to walk around with 2 name belts.
Right.
So he'd have a Mo 1 name belt and a Flores name belt as well.
Fantastic.
But a big up to a Mo 1, and also big up to, I see Aztec was another artist that was pushing the boundaries as well, wasn't he?
Aztec, yeah. I mean, Aztec's sort of like from round the manor as well. You know?
He's Woolwich. Yeah, I interviewed Aztec. He's such a diamond. Big up Aztec.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aztec was changing the game as well, wasn't he?
Yeah,
amazing wild style.
I mean, do you know what? I'm not sure if I've actually ever met the fella, but we're sort of like ships in the night, you know? We need to.
Any artists, I mean, we spoke about big up Mr. Sens, but there's so many, Trans One. I mean, they're all from our kind of generation, though.
Yeah, I think like it's right what you say. Like people like there's some people that are a bit like, you know, from the old school, you know, that have pretty much sort of been doing it as long as us. And this is not to take away all the new people that are like doing the most amazing things, but there's some people that like if I was to shout out and just sort of, you know, but only that they've sort of, you know, we've been friends, or like, you know, we've you know, and I sort of rate these people that what I really rate is that like somebody that's got their own unique style. You don't need to see who signed it. You'll be able to sort of like see that it's their work. You'll know it's their work, you know? Like, who have I wrote down here?
Give me your list. And there's so many more. I know there's so many more.
I don't want to do this.
I know we don't like doing this.
I don't want to do this because it's people will get upset.
There's so many.
What about me? But like things like,
give me a little list. Give us.
Well, I tell you what. This is the wild card here, right? There's a fella called Shy.
Oh, Shy, yeah.
Do you know?
Wicked.
I tell you what, we're doing a piece together. He don't know yet.
Oh, he does now.
Yeah, this is the first he's going to know. Yeah. Because his work, right, is for me 80s, but he's modernised it. I don't know how he's done it, but it's got that 80s feel to it. Mark from ERZ and Howard Domain, I mean, just insane. Like, you know, just so individual, incredible work, both of them, and just instantly recognisable. Trans One as well. Really
big up Trans.
Yeah, really super cool guy. Mr. Sens, I mean, come on, man.
Just, big up
I've
Sens.
given you enough praise. Like, and then there's like Remy Ruff.
Remy Ruff, yeah.
And then like, you know, I know like there's a couple of like other wild cards as well, but like there's Asa One from Bristol. Absolutely like just, you know, typography and, you know, really, you know, amazing stuff. And there's also like a fella Zenz, not Mr. Sens, like Zenz XENZ, like you know, does all the sort of like cloudscapes and the things like that, you know. And I really rate them because like you look at their work and you just know it's them, you know. And I think that's like, you're an accomplished artist if you've got a style. And quite a lot of them, they can do something and just freestyle with what they're doing, you know.
So what's the reason you gave up doing the graph? When was that? In 1987? What was your last piece?
The thing is like when you look at like the whole, what happened with the whole sort of, really it was like from 85 to 87, you know, that those sort of years, and 86 was the golden year. What happened was like Hip Hop Alliance had, like, the GLC was throwing all money at the arts,
and then they run out.
And then they came out of power. So Red Ken came out of power, and he was basically using up his budget the last sort of couple of years and just throwing money. And like Hip Hop Alliance was just like, yeah, and sponsoring stuff. So really, like when that started to dry up, the paint dried up. Also, like I was in like sixth form at school. Really, that was the whole sort of thing. How like things sort of, it was a wind down. And just to move on, and then obviously, like, you know, you had the whole Summer of Love that came in and things like that, and like, you know, where people were distracted by all the raving and
the
things
acid
like
house,
that.
yeah.
You know, it just happened, man.
Did you get into the acid house scene?
No comment.
You used to have long hair, didn't you? I remember you now. You used to have long hair. That's right. You got into the acid like me.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
You must be mistaken.
I remember now. Yeah, you grew your hair long. I remember. I was
down here, wasn't it?
Yeah, you have really long hair. I remember that. Tell me, you know, what are you working on now?
I mean, pretty much, like, I think, like, I would just sort of, you know, I've got a new book and a film coming out right now, so it's no, I'm only joking.
No, I was going to say.
So yeah. I'm just doing this interview just to coincide. No, I've got nothing coming out, but like, you know, I've actually got like, there's two facets to, like, you know, me. You know, there's the sort of kid that was born in a forest, in a woodland and things like that, and like there's a lot of like folklore, mystical art that I do. And
I've seen it, Chris. Honestly, I'm not being anyone watching this, right? You check some of this stuff out now, because, you know, once again, you're breaking the boundaries. You're putting your own style into doing this. I mean, it's incredible, the use of the colours. It's
not graffiti. It's a completely different tip. But if anyone's interested, they can find me on Instagram, and it's hiddenrealms.art. Okay?
I'm going to leave the link in the description box below as well.
Yeah. So you can check me out, hiddenrealms.art. But that's like really, you know, when I'm sitting down in the woodlands and I'm like looking around, and like from my Irish heritage, you know, a lot of folklore is all around, you know, the mythical stuff, you know. I won't go too much, you know, because I am away with the fairies, but like, you know, the art will speak for itself. So if anyone wants to check that out, it's hiddenrealms.art. It's difficult for me. I don't want to sort of like, you know, I'm knocking on bus pass age here, you know. So for me to like come out, you know, spinning on my back and, you know, and all that sort of stuff.
Happen.
Yeah, I mean, come on, I've got to have some dignity as I get me bus fast, you know, really.
I can't believe we got through this interview, me and you. I mean, obviously we're both knocking on, we're both the same age, and we're still being able to pull out some of these memories.
Yeah, well,
That's
I'm surprising myself today. Like, I didn't know I was going to be able to remember. But yeah, I mean, like, so far as like what am I doing? I you know, if Instagram, it's jump2official.art, or no, it's jump2.official. There's a website, jump2official.art, that I've got. You know, I've got a lot, like, the thing is I've got a lot of canvases that I painted over the last few years and things. I've remixed a lot of my characters from the 80s.
You got any samples in the back?
Yeah, I've got those.
Bring out the samples.
This is your idea, Steve. Like,
Bring
I
out
can't
the
believe it.
samples. Look, I'm sitting here waiting for the samples to come out. Pull out a few of the canvases.
All right, well, I mean, look, Steve said, look, bring some stuff along with you. And I don't know what I've done, because, like, I mean, I like to travel light, but I mean, this
you bought the kitchen sink with you.
I know, it's insane. But these are some of the canvases. This is like a remix of True Blue.
Wow. Can you come in a bit closer with the
Yeah, there's a True Blue remix.
Look at that.
And then, like, you remember you were saying about, like, the Buntlack character? There's a Buntlack character.
Wow.
These are nice premium canvases as well.
Beautiful. Historical.
Yeah, I'm going to, like, flick through these really quick, right? I can't believe, like, it's just like carrying with them, carrying them with me all the time. You know what I mean? Like, we're going to leave home without them. There's Twisted.
Wow.
But you'll see all these on the Instagram, but, like, yeah, I mean, why did I bring these? I couldn't just say check the Instagram. But these are some things that no one's seen yet. And this is like working with, like, this is a collaboration with Shy from Essex. And, you know, these are like some, like, I've remixed the Meltdown characters.
Look at that.
So these are all like, these are all remixes. You know, and like I'm going to do prints and things like this, because to be honest, I think like these have looked great in the house, but like, you know, there's a trio of them. But yeah, I mean, like I say, if you go to jump2official.art or, you know, Instagram, and
that's the trio.
Yeah, but all these backgrounds, this is like Shy. And it's insane. I love his work, man, and like, you know, it's just so 80s. It's so 80s.
I love the drips and the melts. I love the drip on the left, the highlight drip coming down. But
this, you know,
got the bit going through his mouth there. Look, the white.
It just works really well. I think like the style is just, it's just so 80s, and I like love to collaborate with this fella. He's really good. Yeah, look, we got the black book here, right? But what I'm gonna say is, Steve, I'm gonna drive now a little bit. Is that all right? Can I drive?
Yeah.
Right. What I'm gonna say is, like, the black book is something that, like, I could sort of sit here and show the thing. I know, like, Solo One was it? He asked, like, to see the black book and things like that. I'm going to post them up on the Instagram, so like, you know, people get a better look, because it's kind of awkward, you know, just showing the camera. But what I have got is a little sign for you, my friend.
What have you got? Wow, I think I know what this is, because I know you've been asking me a few questions lately. Because I know my cat passed away about 5-6 months ago. And I know you're heavily, you know, you love pets like me as well, don't you, Chris?
Yeah, man.
You absolutely love pets.
Honestly, man. And do you know what? You know what it is, isn't it? But like,
I'm going to get in the back. Let me jump in the back with you. Let me open this up.
All right. Now, I don't want any tears, because if you'll set me off.
I'm not going to go on camera, because I hate going on camera. I used to show my face on camera. Let's have a look. This is as far as I know, my cat Floyd, who passed away. He was with us for 18 years. He was my best friend. And I know when I put a post up on Facebook, Chris reached out to me. I know you've been asking me a few questions lately and asking for some old photos. Wow.
You like?
My mind is blown. Chris, my mind is blown, honestly. Wow, you got his towel. You got his towel, his fluffy towel, when he gets excited, look. Honestly, mate, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
That's for you, brother. That's for you, brother. Love you, mate.
Thank you so much. Wow. I am literally blown. Look, that's my cat, Floyd. Chris,
a JUMP2 original.
Seriously.
There you go, my man.
I'm speechless, honestly.
First time I've ever heard anything, isn't it?
I'm speechless. Speechless, mate. Honestly. Listen, what can I say? Chris, you're an absolute icon, a legend in my eyes, an inspiration. And I think anyone watching this interview today will understand the kind of character that you are. You know, you're an absolute diamond geezer, you're down to earth, you're not big-headed, and you were setting the bar back in the day, and you're, as I say, you know, an absolute diamond. And yeah, listen, I hope you've enjoyed this little chat as well.
Yeah, I mean, great, man.
We could talk for so much longer about stuff, couldn't we? But yeah, you're an inspiring artist, and anyone watching this, I'm going to leave the link to Chris's website below in the description box, so please go down there and support Chris. And also check out my interviews I've done with like Scam, Part 1 and Part 2, T-Kid, Scheme, you know, big up all of them. And yeah, it's been an amazing conversation, Chris, to be honest.
Well, thanks, man. And like,
and this is just the icing on the cake. Look, I am literally blown away by that.
And like, and if I could just sort of like say to, like, you know, anybody sort of watching, just thank you so much. Like, over the years, there's been so many kind comments and things like that have been, like, you know, said and things like that, and just really just thanks for like all the support. That's it.
Listen,
I'm lost for words.
Chris, you're a legend. Listen, you're a real legend, a real diamond. And anyone watching this, please leave a comment below as well and share this around the socials. But listen, my mind's been blown once again. We've unleashed JUMP2 in the cab, an absolute icon in the game, and power to you, Chris, for pushing, you know, for one of the ones that are pushing the boundaries in the arts. And I love you. Cheers, my man.
You're welcome, brother. Love you, man.